Now, an Emeritus Newsbrief, I'm Lynn Houston. Failed banks and failed pensions putting more pressure on federal officials. The Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation has taken over the pension plan of the bankrupt Circuit City stores. Although the Circuit City pension is 82% funded, the company's bankruptcy and liquidation forces the PBGC to cover a $62 million shortfall. PBGC officials say Circuit City employees and retirees will continue to get their payments.
If you're already retired, you will now receive your monthly pension benefit from the PBGC. There will be no interruption. Your check will come on time, next month, and every month. Many Circuit City employees have earned a pension benefit but are not yet eligible to retire. To those individuals, your benefit is safe, and it will be there when you're ready to start collecting it.
The PBGC also took over the pension plan of auto parts supplier Contech of Portage, Michigan, and will cover $12 million of the more than $13 million shortfall. More on those stories on the Emeritus News Financial Pensions page. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation losing nearly 25% of its insurance fund since the beginning of the year as 36 federally insured institutions have failed. Over the Memorial Day weekend, Bank United of Florida was taken over and a new Bank United holding company was formed to operate it. Cost to the FDIC insurance fund a whopping $4.9 billion. Two other banks were also taken over Memorial Day weekend. More on those stories on the Emeritus News Financial Pensions page. A big defeat for the cable TV industry as a Washington, D.C. appeals court rules that property owners at apartment buildings and condos cannot have exclusive agreements with cable TV providers to prevent competitors from getting customers. The FCC had voided such contracts in a 2007 decision. The Court of Appeals has now upheld the right of the FCC to do so. A copy of the decision on the Emeritus News consumer page. The ACLU vows to reverse Proposition 8 in California, which outlaws gay marriage. The California Supreme Court ruled that Proposition 8 is legal, but the court did recognize civil unions and those marriages that took place before Proposition 8 was passed. Opponents, including the ACLU, say they will try again.
The ACLU and its allies are in California working to change people's minds. When we're ready, we'll go back to the ballot and we'll get Proposition 8 repealed. We're going to keep fighting to get rid of Proposition 8 because this is about a fundamental American value, the right all of us should have to live our lives as we see fit without having somebody else's morality imposed on us. It's no abstract principle. We represent Sam Beaumont, a man who lost the home that he and his partner built with their own hands because they weren't married. We work with Randy Walden. Randy's partner spent the last night of his life alone because the hospital he was in wouldn't let them spend the night together because they weren't married. The right to live your life as you see fit. It's not just about marriage. In Florida, the ACLU is challenging a law that says that a fit parent can't adopt if he or she is lesbian or gay.
President Obama's Latina nominee for Supreme Court reveals more about herself in a video targeted for Hispanic youth wanting to become attorneys.
My mother's emphasis on education gave me a feeling that I could do whatever I wanted to do. I don't know that I had a real sense of limitation until I started to realize that the world wasn't the way I saw it. That people had feelings about minorities that I certainly didn't have. I didn't think of myself as a minority in the environment I was in. The community I grew up in, Hispanics predominated. What was a minority? We were what we were. I don't know that I had a sense of limitation until I got into the greater world and I realized that people saw me with limited eyes.
More of the video on the Emeritus News Advocacy Legal page. Also on the Emeritus News homepage, Hispanic workers for a Chicago employer win over $500,000 in a race discrimination lawsuit. Foreclosures among homeowners with good credit may soon surpass those of homeowners with problem credit. And reasons why employer rights may send unemployment in the U.S. to levels higher than those in Europe. The latest on the biggest issues in public policy only at emeritusnews.com. And live on the Emeritus News channel 24 hours, 7 days a week at livestream.com. That's an Emeritus News Brief. I'm Lynn Houston.